Hello, my beautiful friend. Welcome to A Time to Care, the Caregivers Podcast. I'm Isabel Melgarejo, your host. And today we have Dan Cohen with us. As soon as he saw nursing home residents light up when reconnected with their favorite music, he was thrilled. And he's been supporting people in finding what their favorite music is, whether they're aging at home in senior care facilities. He is a champion on sharing happiness, calmness, connection through music. And he has been leading this movement for several years. And we have him here today. Welcome, Dan.
Well, thank you for having me, Isabel. I'm delighted to be here.
So, why don't you tell us how your journey started?
Well, it's actually 20 years ago this month that yes, it's a long time, I heard on the radio a journalist talking about how at the time iPods were ubiquitous. Everybody has them. I thought, well, young people, a lot of adults, but if you're older, or if you've got dementia, if you're in a nursing home, no way, people are generally going to stay connected with the music that they wanted to listen to their whole lives. And what would happen if I called up a local nursing home, which is what I did, and I volunteered to, can I come in? I know you already have music. Recreation staff doing music and karaoke and live music and other stuff, but can we see if there's any added value if we totally personalize music for people, reconnect them with their own music, right? People lose their fine finger dexterity. The equipment now is nothing like, streaming. What's streaming? It's a river, and they're not able to do it or have access to it. So they get cut off. And so, but people would light up when they heard their music, right? I'd work with them if they could articulate, what groups they really loved, or singers, or songs. But many times they couldn't, and I'd work with families to try to figure that out. So to make a playlist of 100, 150, 200 songs,
Oh,
so I
wow.
know that everyone would be, just they'd be able to relate to and enjoy themselves. It wouldn't be a question. And so that's how I got started with this. I got turned on to it just by watching people light up and saying, wait a minute, I expected this to be good for, people be in a better mood, but I didn't expect both the degree of impact and like how it really changed people in different ways, and the different types of impacts going beyond mood that showed up.
So, what other impacts have you noticed?
Well, we think about, well, music, and we all know what happens to us. We want to dance, we want to move. When we're at a wedding or a party, we want to sing. We have a good song going. But the unexpected ones were things like people don't fall as much. Um, and they may have less of an appetite. They'll be less likely to communicate. They will be less agitated. They'll be in less pain, because pain, there's a lot of research around this. Pain is directly connected with music and the benefit, because the pathways that pain signals in the brain go the same at some point as music. So you can sort of compete, for attention there. Just stress, sense of control, self-identity. Oh, this is my music. If you're sitting around all day quiet with dementia, and then there's my music, then it kicks off memories. So now you're sparking the long-term memories. You may not remember what you just did 5 minutes ago, or the names of people close to you, but you'll just start singing a song from when you were 10, 15 years old without a problem. Physical activity, movement, walking. If you want to get people, oh, mom, dad, you need to walk more, let's go for a walk. Well, instead of just no or not moving, put on the music and get up, and then people will just start to walk. So just a number of things. I count like 17 different things I've seen, because in that time when I started, I've trained about 5,000 different nursing homes and hospitals and hospices and home care organizations and day programs in the U.S. and other countries. and the feedback has been a steady stream of these kinds of stories. Oh, and the big one I forgot to mention is caregiver stress. When somebody is engaged positively, they're not going to walk out the door. They're not going to get in trouble in the kitchen. They're just going to be sitting and enjoying their music. And so therefore, a caregiver can say, okay, maybe I can take 20 minutes now and do what I have to do around the house, get on the phone, whatever. And studies show that there's a reduction. The numbers range anywhere between 20 and 50%. Caregiver stress, caregiver burnout drops significantly. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, so it's a big deal, and it's something that I mean, Deloitte, the big global accounting firm, they took a look at the 90 studies around music and dementia, and one of the things they found was a reduction in caregiver stress on average of between 25 and 30%. So it's a global phenomenon. It really is important for people to be aware of that. It's because a lot of people caring for someone else at home. It's a 24/7 situation with a lot of burnout. People don't want to leave their homes. They don't want to leave their loved one with someone else, or can't find someone else, or no, they're the only ones that can really do it. And so, and music can help someone who comes in to help. Oh, now there's something that they can engage. It helps. It starts to
Yes.
sort of ripple out. Sort of like a stream. The concentric circles going out of the impacts of music and how you can take advantage of it. So it might be easier to go to a doctor's or go visit friends, or maybe people who are reluctant to visit because someone with dementia, people get nervous. Oh, they have dementia. What am I going to say? I'm not even going to visit there. I mean, even close relatives. Oh no, I can't do it because they're afraid. But if there's music, that can help break the ice. And if the person's going to talk more, and the mood's going to be better, and everybody's going to be calm, and oh, this is great. We could what else can we play for that? Anyway.
Probably, I don't know. This was a while ago, but I remember my grandma, she, I don't know whose idea it was. Maybe they read or listened the same thing as you did, because it was around 20 years ago, a little bit more. Um, but my grandma was like, after my grandfather passed, she went into hibernation mode for a couple of years. And they had someone, a nurse or someone. It was not a nurse, it was someone that would just go and spend the day with her and uh, feed her and whatnot. And I don't know whose idea it was to start bringing music and playing music. And she would dance with this person that was their, like, her caretaker, and they would dance. And it was just fantastic watching her, because she was, as I said, she went like into a hibernation mode. She wouldn't speak, she wouldn't, like, nothing. But you would play music and she would be happy dancing, something that in all of my life I had never seen before.
And it blows away our expectation because we don't think of music. Even if someone has loved music their whole lives, gone to concerts, listen to music, dance a lot, and then when they move along with dementia, we're so occupied with just getting through the day. We don't think of that to make it. Let's make a special effort to bring that in. And when people become aware, they go, "Oh, this is so simple, right?" And the difficult part might be knowing what someone really loves, because we can't just like,
Yes.
"Oh, mom loves country or classical. Let's just turn on the country music." No, no, that's not it. Just the way, if we think of our favorite genre of music, if somebody else started just turning on a station with that, well, that would be a big fail because we know we don't want just any song within our genre. We're really, really picky about what we want to listen to, how long we want to listen to it, and there are songs we love, and a lot of songs within the genre that no, that's not my song, so or my artist, or during my time of sort of growing up, that's an old version of something or new or whatever. But that's the point. The closer we can get to identifying the exact songs that someone loves, the more impact the music will have. So that sometimes people will say, "Oh, it works." I turn on, classical or folk or rock, whatever it is, and there's a reaction. And well, do you know which songs they like? No, and but maybe they're getting a 10 or 20% boost because as compared to sitting doing maybe very little all day or having the TV on or whatever. But we want to get that 100% because we can if we can figure that out. We don't have, doctors do not prescribe medications and say, well, there's a medication over here that'll address the problem, and there's another one that's 10 or 20%. It's easier to do maybe, and we'll do the 10 or 20% one. No, there's no such thing in medicine. So now that we have something that sort of as therapeutic or acts like medicine or brings joy or changes mood, or helps get through the day, quality of life improvements in different ways, well, let's make the most of that. Yeah.
So, obviously, if you can ask the question and you can get the answer, probably that's the easiest path. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people like me who don't remember names. So, um, I can listen to music and I know that I love those songs, but a lot of the music I don't remember the name of the song. So either for people that are like me that don't remember names, or that like they don't remember because we just don't remember, or there is a communication issue. How do you figure that out?
So the names of the songs is tough, but the names of the groups is sort of what to shoot for. The singer, Elvis Presley or the Supremes, or or Rachmaninoff. If we can figure that out, and the way to get to that, if we can't get it easily, is to ask relatives, ask friends. Is there a sibling, a 90-year-old sibling who is alive, who we could say, well, oh yeah, if you talk to them, they may say, yeah, we went to this concert, we did this, we have records. I have records that we both listened to. Here they are, or shows you what they are, and then and then there's really sampling songs. So if you go by the date of birth, so if someone's born in 1930, and okay, so let's look at the songs from 1940 to 1950, from when they were 10 to 20 years old. What were the top hits those years? And let's play some of those and watch for reactions. And the ones where there is a reaction, make a note, write it down, and we'll build a list of the songs that they're responding to from their era, in their country. If they're from another country or something, you can pull that in. Or if the parents, one comes from one country, one comes from another. Everybody has different influences, right? So
Yes.
we want to find, are there, yes, old records sitting in a box somewhere. I was talking to a couple people who caregivers who found notebooks where their mom or dad just wrote down their favorite music and what was going on with them and associated with experiences. Or yeah, we went. This was the music playing. We love that. Went to this concert, and so it was like very, really, very revealing to them. So it's harder, but the key point is this, that, and I'll give an example of in nursing homes. So how effective is this really? So in a nursing homes, I'll ask, well, how effective has this really been for people with dementia? And they say, well, it works really well, maybe 1/3 of the time. It works kind of well. People might listen quietly, enjoying it. Third, and the other third, no reaction at all. But when I talk to places like certain Alzheimer's organizations where they give out free music players and they work to set up customized song playlists on those, and I say, well, how effective is this? They say, like, what do you mean? It works like almost all the time. So why will there be a difference between the Alzheimer's organization talking to people and a nursing home? Because a nursing home, my theory is, gets people who are very have much more advanced dementia and very often can't speak. And maybe there's no relative around or no relative who knows. Whereas people who are being diagnosed and the family's looking for help, the person once when you're being diagnosed, you're still speaking. You can still, living and having conversations, and you're going to remember. Oh, sure, I remember this and I remember that. Those long-term memories do stick to a great degree, and so you can have those conversations and really build the list up that way. So that really speaks to the sooner. As someone begins to cognitively decline, the sooner we recognize that or sense it, and the sooner we put together a playlist. What do you like? Even when older relatives are healthy, and life is going, what songs do you like? Grandma or mom or dad or grandpa, and I'm going to make a list because I have a list for me, and everybody I know has a list, and so we want to have that because we never know. Any of us could have a stroke and go to hospital and then be in a nursing home and not be able to communicate. So we want to have that easily available to the people that love us and want to keep us connected because it could have multiple good effects.
And you're mentioning it, and I'm pretty sure this happens to a lot of people that, especially in couples, when you have a mom and dad, one would cater to the other in terms of what music they would like to listen. So I'm having this conversation, and I'm thinking about all the music that I'm certain my dad loved. And um so he's not with us anymore, but if that was the case, I would know exactly what music to put. Like, I would know because he was very, like, he would be playing music all the time. And but that's not the case for my mom. Like, I don't know what music she likes. Like, she would be the one catering to everybody. So if we were driving with my mom, with my dad, he would be playing his music. But if we were just driving, or if I was just driving with my mom, she would play my music. So I have no idea what music she likes.
So that's an interesting challenge. She may sometimes people end up also liking the music of their kids because they play it for 10 years and they have all of their favorites, and it does happen, right? But there is still this body of music from when they were young, and so that's kind of, did you listen to the radio? Start posing questions around, there's a free document on how to create a playlist for your loved ones on the musicandmemory.org website. Anybody can download it, just got to put in your email address and they don't bug you with that. But it's a really great document, and just all the questions you can ask. And also in answer to your question about, and just same thing with me, if I had to start listing all of the groups that I like or singers, I'm going to go fast and then I'm going to slow down really fast, because I'm just not going to remember so many. So if you get one of these documents where it has it has a list of list by genre, and under each genre might have 20 or 30 different top singers or groups, and then the visual. I remember that one. I remember that one. And for each of the genres, so you go to your favorite genre, identify, and then you'll go through those songs, and maybe even just by asking or by playing, digging them up. So it helps us then to experiment with what songs. It gives us some sense of where to start, right? Even on YouTube Music, I mean, you can go to, top songs of the 50s or the 60s or the 70s. I mean, so, and then you can play things that way. I mean, so we have a lot of sort of ways to access music, we know. And yes, it could be with our phone, but we need to think of ways that will be available every day to people, not just when we are there with them.
Mhm.
Everybody differs in this. Sometimes people in the same house, that's great, but a lot of times it's not the case. And so whether it's smart speakers, I love smart speakers, play the top songs of the Beatles, play the top songs of 1961. That's how I use it. Right.
Yes.
And or play my playlist. I might have a playlist, play Dan's playlist, play Dan's upbeat or calming playlist, so you can have two different playlists. Um, and the calming playlist, I mean, this could be really helpful when I'm coming back to caregiver stress. Um, you know, bathing can be very stressful and difficult. Getting dressed, grooming, meals. So maybe something that is a sort of a stressful point, and bring in music before it's time to bathe. The right song, the song that will just have them singing and moving along with you. And it won't be like, no, I don't want to do that. So it's sort of bathing without a battle is a sort of a concept, and music is a wonderful tool around that. And again, that's part of that, really helping the caregivers by using music as accompaniments to the day to get through certain things pretty well.
So, you've mentioned about playing music before, like something stressful, bathing or eating or anything, like maybe doctor's appointments. I don't know. Are there any, like, I guess music can be played anytime, but like in terms of timings, what are the best times to play music? Because after a while, I could understand people like, I'm done with music and I don't want to be listening to music anymore.
Well, that's a really great question. It's really going to vary based on what has been somebody's patterns along the way, or you try something, or somebody might not. Oh, I'm not. They clearly aren't in the mood for any music. But then maybe don't think, oh, they don't like music. We're done. No, try it another time of day. Try it in another room at home. Try it outside. Try it inside. Try it when people are over. Try it when you're with by yourself. And it's a bit of a learning process. Music
Mm.
therapists will say, oh, for people with dementia, the optimum sort of amount of time to listen is maybe 30 to 45 minutes. And that's going to vary widely. I mean, I had a woman like put on some music, headphones, and she's, sort of bobbing. And 5 minutes later, she takes the headphones off with a big smile. She says, thank you. But she was overstimulated. You know what I mean? Clearly, she liked the music, but 5 minutes was her limit. Somebody else, a woman, she wore those headphones all day for like 3 months. When she was awake, she'd put it on, and then one day she took off the headphones and she was done. So I tell people, like, keep it special. Don't just turn on the music all the time necessarily, unless if this is how somebody's always lived, with music as sort of the background to their day. Wonderful. You know what I mean? We just need to be thinking about the person and what's going to work, and not push it. This is all for their benefit. And when we think about how we listen to music, how at one point, every sitting, when we turn on music, well, how long do we listen before we say, oh, I've had enough? And there's nothing negative about
Yes.
that. There's just that point of, okay, I got what I wanted out of it. And okay, but tomorrow, I might want to, and try something else. We want to vary it up. We don't want to have, sometimes people say, oh, I have 10 great songs. Well, imagine listening to the same 10 songs over and over and over and over and over again. We'd go nuts. And the same thing is true for anyone with dementia. You know, just picture us with dementia. We would want the same songs we have. We would want to have even the one-hit wonders that we remember from our youth that we don't remember, that suddenly come up. Wow, listen to that, on streaming, online, when songs come up that you don't recall. It's wonderful. So that variety is great. And it doesn't have to be hit songs. It could be hymns or patriotic songs or TV commercials with jingles. I mean, movie themes, Gone from the Wind. I mean, there are all sorts of, the James Bond, theme. I mean, you just don't know what somebody's going to go, oh, wow, this is great. But they're out there. Even if they don't. Oh, mom and dad doesn't like music so much, or this. My father, who was 96, had an identical twin. They both passed during the pandemic, not because of the pandemic. And both of them were, especially my father, just would never talk about music in the car driving. It would always be the news station, and he wouldn't give me anything. So I just tried a little approach. I went to with my uncle, the identical twin, and I said, I know you don't like music too much, but what is your brother like? Oh, this is what he likes. He's telling me. And I asked my father, what is your brother like? And then I got a playlist for each of them. None of them would spill the beans, but for each other, because they loved each other so much. Oh yes, let's see, because I said, this is going to be helpful. So, we just have to sort of take our situation. Everybody's so different, and go forward with that, and keep trying and refresh the list. Even though we may have a great list, in time people get tired of one song or another. We all know for ourselves. Oh, I used to listen to this song all the time, and then I said, forget that artist. I'm not playing that anymore. And then 10 years will go by, and you'll say, oh yeah, maybe I'll try. I liked hearing that one again. It's sort of it's cyclic.
Yeah, and I guess it's. I was texting a really good friend a couple of days ago. There is one specific song that every time that I hear it, I think of him. And it's been 10 years, and I still like, if I listen to it at a restaurant, I will play a record and it's like, hey, Alex, listen to this. And probably people would never think I like that music because I would never hear that. Like, it's music that probably you're not gonna see it in my playlist. And I think we are used to having playlists. Like, I've had a playlist since probably high school, and understanding how our loved ones, like, they didn't have access to music as we do. Like, you see teenagers today and they're like connected to their phone and to music 24/7 if they could.
Sure.
But access to music was not the same when we were younger. Probably there was just like one recorder at home or none at all. So understanding that, I think it's important as well.
Well, so you bring up an excellent point around the connection between with memories and music, and sort of when something's happening. Yes, going with friends to a park or a beach, and when you're a teenager, you remember when you're young, or especially early teen, your long-term memories are a lot more are really coming at you faster. Things you're going through, you're going to remember more solidly, and then the music that happened to be going on, you didn't really think about it at the time, but then afterwards, that becomes, they're connected. And so with people with dementia, it's wonderful to identify, or they may identify, oh, this reminds me when I met my husband or wife, whatever, or I went with my friends, or I was in the army, or whatever it is. And it's good to take note of what the story is connected to that, because one day when they're not able to remember, or it doesn't trigger, so remember, that's the song where you met, so and so, or and then, oh yeah, that's great. I mean, I love what in one nursing home they would have a big dance party, and one woman with pretty advanced dementia was having a great time, and after the dance party ended, she didn't remember it. But they staff took a video of her having a great time, and they would show her the video, and she would love seeing herself having a great time. So I mean, again, stuff we can do with video, and using video and photos, and looking at photos when playing music, with an elderly relative, or someone with dementia, or creating videos around their loving the music. So there's sort of it's kind of up to our own creativity, and thinking and talking, and always coming up with sort of new ways to refresh, which includes not just what we listen to, but get out of the house, go to concerts. It's not an end, right? So, what live concert, what performance would be really great? Is there a dementia choir? People love to sing, many of them, and dementia choirs are great. The research shows it just has all these great. Sort of social interaction is there. It's an environment where there's no stigma attached. People aren't, oh, you have dementia. No, everybody there has dementia, and you're doing something. You may have a performance at the end of practicing, and it's there you are in front of an audience. It's just a real boost and a great thing to do during the week, and it really helps. Oh wow, people get it and they're engaged, and it's a lot of fun. And so and dancing and going out dancing, or so, an instrument. If somebody played an instrument, don't think, oh, well, it's, they played a guitar, it's in the closet, or they got a piano. I wouldn't even think to put them in front of the piano. No, try it. Just that physical memory sometimes is shocking. And they'll just very often start to play. or even just having a tambourine or any percussion kind of instrument. Create one if you want, pots and pans to music that's playing. Because there's something to the rhythm, something to being engaged in that sense, sort of physically. Because dancing, playing an instrument, singing, listening, they all engage a different combination of parts of the brain. So there's a really, for those who do not have dementia, I mean, a wonderful study out of Australia came out this last year where they had 10,000 people over 70 years old, and they asked them all how often you listen to music. And those that said they listened to music every day had a 39% reduced risk of getting dementia.
Oh, interesting.
So there's a preventive association there. It's not a causal, it's not a cause effect one help me, but there's something there that they need to research. And they found for people who play an instrument, they had a 33% reduction in risk of getting dementia. So that was really just a very exciting study. So, add that to the list of things that we can do to help keep our brains sharp, to be generating new brain cells and such over time.
Is there anything else you want to share with us today?
Wow. I think just to even we should have our own playlists in place and think about it. Is all my music in one place? And so make that happen, because if we can do it for ourselves, set it up. I haven't really used smart speakers much. Maybe I'll see if I can put my playlist on there. Then we can do it for others. Have that skill set, because we can't use our phones and go in. Yeah, we can go in and spend an hour with a relative with the phone and play music and have a great time, but then we leave, right? And maybe it's a college student that's going, home for vacation or the summer, but then, they had a great time with the music. But what's going to happen when no one's there? And how do we make that happen? And so I'd say just use AI also. I'm using it. Just how do I do this with my relative who has this kind of dementia? And this is what, the music they like, or these are the issues I'm facing. What should I do? AI is getting better and better. And
Yes.
you have to give it some thought. Maybe try the different chat boxes and chat bots. But I'm finding it's really helpful. Explain to me this. What will work? Will it help with? My father has brain fog. My father's got delirium. Will it help with that? How? How much? What should I do? With falls, how can it help? What else can I do aside? I can do music plus other things. And music's different from medications. Medications are focused on helping reduce symptoms or cure disease, and but kind of aims at basically trying to make one change in our health. Whereas music comes along, and yes, and it does the mood, behavior, but there may be less brain fog. It might be reduce the chance of delirium when you go to the hospital. Somebody's not going to fall. They're going to be more talkative. Their arthritic pain won't feel as bad. They'll feel less stressed. They may sleep better. Like holy mackerel! And there's a prominent Alzheimer's researcher who said, if only I could develop a pill that has the same impacts that music has, it would be a multi-billion-dollar blockbuster. Every doctor would be prescribing it, and every family would be using it. Um, but well, why is it not? So that's the question we can all ask ourselves. Well, if it's in a pill, pills we're always, we're very medicalized as a society. Pills are the answer, and very
Yes.
often, of course, they are the answer. But when it comes to quality of life and social, psycho, brain and feeling, how we feel, drugs are not, it's not a clear cut win. Side effects and other impacts, whereas there is no downside to music. If it's not going to work, there's no guarantee. Again, we might not know the person's right music. If it doesn't work, what do we lose? Nothing. If we pick the wrong song and they go, it's a bad memory, well, there's a whole story around that. But it can be good for people to cry or not good. You take the song off it, really, if it's bad. You just get rid of the song. The upside is really pretty huge. People say, as caregivers say to me, basically, this has just been just so helpful, you know. Or people say to me, yeah, my loved one passed away. I wish I knew this then. Oh, and also I should say, definitely see the movie Alive Inside, which which has got an 8.2 on Internet Movie Database (IMDb), which makes it like one of the top movies. And it really talks about this from different ways, but you'll laugh, you'll cry. It's on YouTube, Alive Inside. It's 78 minutes. It's on Apple TV. It's on Amazon Prime, and so I just recommend it. Free on Apple on Alive Inside, because it's really helpful if someone if listening to this is so this is great, but I can't get my relative to buy into this. Oh, music, this thing, leave me alone. Um, just watch this movie. Give them the link, and then let's talk. It's a very powerful anti-stigma kind of message, and that there is hope, and people are there, and that'll help to get past the sort of the kind of being stuck, I think, a little bit before getting to a stage of, yes, we're going to do the music.
So, where can people learn more about you and the work you do?
So my website is Right to Music, RIGHTTOMUSIC .com, and just I know there's another website, which is there's going to be a global forum in September if somebody's really interested on international perspectives. It's a 3-hour virtual forum, and that's on a website. It's an International Music and Dementia Advocacy Coalition, which I'm involved with. And the URL is imdac 2030, as in the year.org. And there'll be the agenda, and anybody could sign up. It's a free session, so that's another one. And I would get the download, or even just Google for where's and on the imdac2030.org website, it shows resources. And one of them is also someone from Australia did a great how to set up a personalized list for someone, very thorough. And that's a free download. It's right on there's a list of resources, like 30 different organizations and efforts and things, and people can see the kinds of stuff going on, and maybe even start something themselves.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I really enjoy this conversation.
Well, my pleasure. Thank you for focusing on this topic. I think I'm just delighted, Isabel, that we had a chance to talk today.
Of course. Thank you.
Good.
Hey, just for you to know, the content presented in this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. The views and opinions expressed by the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of any affiliated organizations or sponsors. If you need additional advice, please contact the right partner for you.